A very good morning to one and all. And in the last class, I explained you about the conversion from expression, regular expression to finite automata, right? I think you all understand the two most important concepts in unit number 2. What are those is, the first concept is conversion from DFA to regular expression, and the second is the conversion from regular expression to DFA. And here it is a summary part for part A in unit number 2. And what the summary is here is, and I define what the regular expression is, and I define what the applications of the regular expressions are, and also I make you to understand and what the laws that we are having for the regular expressions, and we are calling them as an algebraic laws of regular expressions, and as well as and the conversion from the expression to DFA and the DFA to regular expression. And these are the most important concepts that I covered in the last classes, and I make you to understand each and every concept with the definition and as well as with the examples. I think you all are clear about these concepts in part A. And now coming to the part B of unit number 2. And this is the part B in unit number 2. And what the part B is about the properties of the regular languages. And here, and I'm going to explain about the most important theorem, that is about the pumping theorem, pumping lemma theorem of the regular expression. And this is for the regular language we are going to learn in regular expression, and as well as the closure properties of the regular languages. And then finally making you to understand about the equivalence and the minimization of the automata. And in this class, what I'm going to explain you about you is about the closure properties of the regular languages. And here in part 2 we are talking about the regular languages, and in part 1 we talk about the regular expression, right? And here always we are referred to the regular languages from whatever the languages that are accepted from the regular expressions. So part 2 is completely about the regular languages. And here in this class I'm going to explain about the closure properties of regular languages, and then after knowing what the properties that comes under the regular language, and knowing about how to take the decision and how to know the decision properties of the regular languages, and then after I will explain you this concept of equivalence and minimization of automata. And finally I will explain you the most important theorem, that is about the pumping lemma theorem of regular languages. So initially I will start with an closure properties of regular languages in this part B. And see here, once all of you please see the slide what I'm going to share to you all, because in the slide we are having an examples, and with the examples I will show you each and every property of the regular languages, and those we are calling them as an closure properties, right? And see, the today's concept is closure properties of regular languages. And coming to the closure properties of regular languages, we represent the regular languages with an RL. And here we're having an closure properties of different closure properties, and this is different from the clean closure. And what it means is, here a set of regular languages are combined using an operators. Then the resulting language is also an regular. That means how we can say that it is a regular language. Then this is a definition that we are giving an definition for the it is a for naming it is an regular language. And when we can say that it is a regular language, and the set of languages that are combined using an operator, then the resulting language is also an regular. So these closure properties are different from the clean closures, and here we are having some different closure properties. And let's see how the regular languages are closed under the union, under the intersection, complement, difference and reversal, clean closure, concatenation, homomorphism and inverse homomorphism. These are the different closure properties of the regular languages. If the question is for the 2 marks, means just you can write put a heading the closure properties of regular languages, and under that you can write down the regular languages are closed under union, intersection, complement, difference, reversal, and you can choose any of 5 or 6 from these, and you can write the answer for the question closure properties of regular languages for the 2 marks. Or if it is for the 8 marks, means with the example you need to show how it is get union closed under union, and how it gets closed under the intersection and closed under the reversal and all those. So with the examples you need to show if it is for the 8 marks question, or if it is for only 2 marks, means you need to write only the names of these properties, that's enough. Or if directly the question is show that how the union operator, union property or union operator is closed under the regular language, means, and just you need to put a heading of the union operator, union property, and then there you need to take an example and you need to show how it is closed under the regular languages for the union operator, right? And these are some of the set of properties that we're having. Those are closed under the regular languages, just we're naming them as in closure properties. And coming to the each and every property, let's see by proving it each and every property one by one. And now we're learning about the regular languages, and those are closed under the union, and how to show that the property for the union is, if L and M are the 2 regular languages, just we need to assume that L and M are the 2 regular languages, then they both have the 2 corresponding regular expressions R and S. So always the expressions are to be referred for the languages, right? So here initially we define a language like an L and M, and always, and also we need to define the regular expression R and S like this. So when the L union M can be represented using the expression R plus S, then therefore the L union M is also regular. That means already R plus S is a regular, and you need to show that L union M is also a regular. And how we are showing that both the L union M is regular? The L and the M are the 2 regular languages, and initially we make an assumption for that, and the corresponding, we need to define the corresponding regular expression for these 2 regular languages in the form of an regular expression just by assuming R and S like this, right? So R plus S, how we are writing in property for the 2 union property for the 2 regular expressions R and S, means R plus S, right? So this L union M can be represented using the expression R plus S, and finally you can show that L union M is an regular, right? And hence this is the way of proving that the RLs are closed under unions. And now coming to the complement. And regular languages are closed under complementation. Complement, you all know complement means if L is a language, then L power dash, that means L dash is an complement of L. So here, if L is a regular language over the sigma, sigma is an input alphabet, then what L bar is, L bar in the sense it is a complement, right? So it can be represented as an sigma star minus L. That means the clean closure minus L is an L complement. So here we need to show that L bar is also an regular. So we need to do the construction like this for the L. See here, this is an DFA for the L. Now we need to convert every final state into a non-final state and every non-final state into a final state. Then it comes under an L bar, right? That means invert of each and every state. The final state becomes a non-final state, and non-final state becomes a final state. Then automatically, in this way, we show that the complementation of the both languages, and just by taking an language L for the DFA, and we show the L bar for the DFA like this. And here we need to assume that Q naught is a non-final state, and if not, we need to do the opposite. And then the third property here is intersection property. And intersection means invert of union, right? The invert representation of the union, it comes under the intersection property. And here it is an quick indirect way to prove. And here we are proving with an De Morgan's law. De Morgan's law, and L intersection M, as well as we make an assumption that two regular languages like L and M, and L intersection M is L bar union M bar whole bar. Then automatically this becomes an L intersection M. And here we know the regular languages that are closed under the union as well as under the complementation. So automatically they are closed under the intersection, right? See, before I explain you the union property and the complement property, and here to prove that L intersection M, this we're having the both union and the complementation. So automatically the intersection also closed under the, that means we prove that the intersection is also closed under the regular languages, right? So a more direct way would be a construction of an finite automata for the L intersection M. So let's see, and let us assume that a DFA that we are constructing for L intersection M, and initially we need to make an assumption for the for the L regular language L and for the regular language M. A is an DFA here, and the DFA for L is, and we already know how to define the DFA, and a formal definition for the DFA is with an 5-tuple machine, and these are the 5 tuples for the DFA of language L, as well as, and these are the 5 tuples machine for the DFA for the language M, right? And what we are going to prove here is, and we're proving that L intersection M. So now we need to build an DFA for L intersection M, right? So, and for building that, you need to define the formal definition of this. So how you define is the QL mapping with QM, and in the both L and M, the input alphabet is same in the form of an sigma, and QL, QM, these are the initial states, FL and FM, that means we are mapping with the both final states, and finally the del L and del M that we are taking as an del here, that means it is for the language L and it is for the language M. So how it is represented as, and from this, by building an intersection of L intersection M, for building an DFA with L intersection M, finally the the del with P with P Q with A is del L of P with A and del M of Q with A, where P in QL and Q in QM. That means one state we are taking for it belongs to L and one state it belongs to M. So here this construction ensures that a string W will be accepted if and only if the W reaches an accepting state in the both input DFAs. That means if if it shows the both final states of the L and M, then only it can gets acceptable. Otherwise, it does not gets acceptable. Right. And this is the way of proving the DFA construction for L intersection M. And these are the diagram representations for showing how the DFA for L is and how the DFA for M is, and finally DFA for L intersection M is, right? And we are taking the DFA for L with the states of Q0 to QF. That means Q0 is an initial state and QF1 is an final state. And same as here, we are taking the DFA for M with P0 to PF, right? And now we are intersecting these two. Then P0, Q0, that means Q0, P0, QI, PI, QJ, PJ, and finally QF1, PF1. And this is the way of representing an DFA for the L intersection M. See the dotted arrows, and with the dotted arrows representation, we can easily say that how the both regular languages are intersected. And now coming to the next property, that is an difference. And up to now, I explained you the properties of union, complement, intersection. 3 properties are over. And now it is an fourth property, that is an difference. That means the regular languages that are closed under the set of difference. And let's observe that L minus M, difference can be represented with an minus, right? L minus M. And L minus M can be represented as L intersection M complement. Already the M complement is under the regular language, and L intersection M is under the regular language, and then closed under the regular language, the intersection is closed under the regular language, as well as the complement is closed under the regular language. And now finally the difference is also closed under the regular language. That means if you prove this, means automatically it gets proved with an L minus 1, L minus M. Already these two are proved. The intersection and the complement is already proved. And by proving these two, automatically whatever the thing that we need to show, the difference between the two regular languages are get proved, right? And the fifth one, it is an reversal. That means the regular languages that are closed under reversal. Reversal means, see here, string reversal. W is a string, just making an assumption that 00111 is a string, and the reversal of this string is 11100. That means ulta of the string, right? Reversal of a string W is denoted by W power R. And the reversal of language is L power R. And for the string, it is W, and for language, it is L power R. That means the language that is generated by reversing all the strings in the L. So here what the theorem is and what the statement of the theorem is. If L is a regular, then L power is also an regular. So just taking here, we need to construct for epsilon and fa construction. Why? Because here we need to talk about the reverse, right? Reversal. So for that, we are taking the epsilon and fs. We are constructing an epsilon and fs, and just initially we need to take an DFA for the language L, and same as Q naught with from Q naught, where Q naught is an initial state, and making an assumpting of different finite automatas, like different final states like an F1, F2 and Fk, so on. And this is an DFA for the language L. And from this DFA, here you need to show a new start state with an Q naught dash. Q naught dash is nothing but a reversal of this. Reversal of this language L, reversal of this DFA for the language L. So the Q naught dash is connected with each and every final states of the DFA with an epsilon. Then here, see, you need to reverse all the transitions. That means you need to show that it is a reversal, right? You need to show that, and language L, for the language L, you need to show that reversal of that language L power R, right? So what you need to do here is you need to convert all the world set of final states into non-final states. That means these final states into non-final states, as well as you need to reverse all the transitions, and also you need to make the world start state as only the new final state, and this becomes an final state, right? Then what to do if Q naught was one of the final states in the input DFA means, and this can be called as a new epsilon and fa for the L power R. This is the way of representing an reverse language for the DFA. Reverse language means totally the direction path should get reversed, and the final state should become a non-final states, and the initial state should become an final state. And reverse, you need to show the transition path reverse. That means now we are having a path from Q0 to Q1. So you need to show the path from Q1 to Q0. So then automatically it becomes the reversal, right? And for the strings, it is very easy to show, but here it is for the language, or it is for the construction of the DFA, and it becomes much complex. If the machine is complex machine, means it becomes complex to show the reversal of the language, right? And here we're going to prove using and regular expressions for the reversal. And if L is irregular, then L power R is irregular, right? And here we're proving for the reversal. And before we proved for the finite automata, and now we're proving for the regular expression. And let us assume that E be a regular expression for the language L. Now for the E, we need to build an E power R, because to show that it is a reversal, you need to build an E power R. And here the basic information what you need is, if E is an epsilon, or E is an pi, or E is an any input, then E power R, the reversal of the E should be an E, So that's the basis. And now what the induction of this is, every part of E, that means here you need to refer to the part as an F, right? Here E is a regular expression. So it can be in only one of the three following forms. What those forms means, it may be an union in the sense you are representing an union with an plus for the expressions, right? That means F is equal to F1 plus F2, like that. Reversal, F power R is equal to F1 power R plus F2 power R. And then complement concatenation, F1 F2, and F power R is equal to F1 power R into F2 power R. That means here you need to reverse, right? F2 power R into F1 power R. And then finally the clean closure, F1 whole star. So Fr whole star is equal to F1R whole star. And if you know, if you need to show that E is equal to E power R, then the part of E can any one of these F, any one of these following forms, then it becomes an regular language, right? And now the next one, the sixth one, it is an homomorphism. It is an another important property, closure property of the regular languages. It is an homomorphism. Just we need to substitute each symbol in an input alphabet sigma, that is main alphabet, by corresponding string in an T. T is nothing but another alphabet, right? Just initially you need to make an assumption that H, what H is an homomorphism representation, and the input alphabet tends to the string alphabet T power star. So just see an example. Let us taking an example like this. The input alphabet is in 0 and 1, and T is an AB. And how the homomorphism function is, H of 0 is equal to AB, H of 1 is equal to epsilon. So if W is 10110, then what the H of W will be? H of 0 is an AB, H of 1 is an epsilon, right? In the place of 1, you need to put an epsilon. In the place of 0, you need to put an AB. In the place of 1, you need to put an epsilon. In the place of 1, you need to put an epsilon. And in the place of 0, you need to put an AB. So finally, it becomes AB. Right? And this is the way of proving the homomorphism with an example, just by taking an input alphabet as well as a string alphabet like this. Right? And initially you need to define the homomorphism function. If the H of 0, it is a homomorphism function H of 0 and H of 1. Here we're having two functions, and just initially itself you need to define what the H of 0 function is and what the H of 1 function is. And then in general, what the H of W, H of W is nothing but a string. H of W is H of the input alphabet A1, H of A2, so on, H of AN, right? And that's, in this way you need to prove the homomorphism. That is also one of the closure property where it is under the closed under the regular languages. And coming to the finite automata construction for the homomorphism, and here given a DFA for the L and how to convert it into an finite automata for H of L, homomorphism function H of L. So this is a language where it is an DFA for L. Now you need to replace every edge A by, here it is an edge, right? Every edge A by H of A, because here we are showing the homomorphism function with H of A, and the path that is labeled with an H of A in the new DFA like this. So what we did here is we build a new finite automata, and that simulates the H of A for every symbol A, and wherever we're having an A, you need to show it with an H of A, right? So what it means is every symbol A transition in the above DFA is referred with an H of A, and the resulting finite automata, it may or may not be an DFA, but the finite automata is for H of L. That means the language, the homomorphism language. And another property is inverse homomorphism. And now we see an homomorphism, and the next property, it is an inverse homomorphism property. And here also let homomorphism is E tends to, that is E, no, sorry, the input alphabet tends to and string alphabet, string closure. and let M be the language over the alphabet T. Then H inverse of M will be what the inverse homomorphism of M will be. The W is a string where it belongs to the input alphabet star. That means the clean closure of the input alphabet, and it shows that the H of W belongs to M. So, and what the set of strings in sigma star, set of strings in the sigma star means whose homomorphism translations that results in the strings of M. So here we need to claim that if M is a regular, then automatically the inverse, the homomorphism inverse homomorphism of M is also an regular. So to show that it is also an regular, we are having a proof, and see the proof here. Let A be a DFA for M. M is an language over the alphabet T, right? And here we need to construct another DFA, and that we are naming it as an A dash, and it which encodes the inverse homomorphism of M. So the A dash is an exact replica of A, right? Because A is an DFA and the complement of DFA is an A dash. So it is an exact replica of an A. So except that its transition functions are here, what we're going to show that is for any input symbol A in sigma, A dash will simulate H of A in A. That means the del of P with A is del of P comma H of A. That means initially you need to show the homomorphism of the A, then you need to check the transition with the state P, right? So that is an most important, one of the most important property where it is closed under the regular language. Just by claiming that, here we claim that if M is a regular, then H inverse of M is also an regular. So to show the proof of this, just we make an assumption of, just by taking an finite automata where we named it as an DFA, and we're assuming the A for the DFA, and for the reverse, that means inverse homomorphism of the DFA, we assuming with an A dash, and just we simulate that H of, always the H of A is in an A. And what it means is, whenever you need to do the transition for the state with an input, and here you need to replica, that means you need to show the simulation for the del of the state with an homomorphism of the input alphabet, and then after that you need to show the transition from the state with the output of the homomorphism function. Then then finally we can show that it, hence it is proved, and therefore the inverse homomorphism is closed under the regular language. These are the most important closure properties of the regular languages, and up to now these are the closure properties of the regular languages. And then you need to show, you need to know how the decision properties of the regular languages are. And any decision that totally depends upon, or we need to look like this, whether it is yes or no, right? To solve any problem by taking an input, it is a general question. By taking an input, and we need to decide the problem, we need to decide, we need to solve the problem. And for solving the problem, what we need to look for, whether it is an yes or whether it is a no, right? So now see here, here we're having a membership question for that. What the membership question is here, the decision problem is, for the given L, is the W is in L or not, is the question. Is the W is nothing but an, is the string is in L or not, right? And here the possible answer for the decision problem is whether it is an S or no. If the W is in, W belongs to L means we can say that it is an S, or if it does not belongs to L means we can say that it is no, right? So what the approaches that we are making here is, for proving the solution for the problem, first initially we need to build an DFA for the L, and then we need to take an input W to the DFA, and then if the DFA ends in the accepting state, then we can say that yes, otherwise no, right? These are the approaches that we need to make for the decision problem, and for the possible, for what the possible answers that we're having here, right? And the next thing is, and it is an emptiness test. And how to show the emptiness test means, Just initially you need to make a problem like this, and then you need to show the approaches for the problem. And finally if you reach the test means, you can say that we can implement the test. And what the emptiness test means, if sorry, is L is equal to 5, is L is equal to pi. L means L is a language, equal to pi means nothing is there, it is in zero, or zero also not there, pi empty, empty, emptiness. So what the approaches that we are going to made here is, for the question of L is equal to pi, and here I'm making an two approaches on the problem, and on a DFA for the L, what the L is pi. And approach number one, from the start state, run a reachability test which returns success or failure. When it gets success, if there is at least one final state, then it is reachable from the start state, then it gets success. Otherwise, it gets failure, right? So, what the second approach is here, if L is equal to pi, if and only if the reachability test fails, right? And how to implement the reachability test here. And so, for implementing the reachability test, we need to go for the next concept, that is about the fitness, finiteness. That means now I explained you how to show the emptiness. Emptiness always shows with 5, right? Now we are showing for the finiteness. And here in coming to the finiteness, and what the problem is, if L is infinite or infinite, that's the question we're having, that's the problem we're having here. And we need to make an approach for this. Here we're having in 4 approaches, and on a DFA for the L, first approach is remove all the states which are unreachable from the start state, right? And the second approach is remove all the states that cannot lead to any accepting states. That means which does not give an acceptable states, we need to remove all those which are not reaching, that means from starting state onwards, which states are not reaching to the final states, first you need to remove those. Then you need to remove which are not getting acceptable, so you need to remove those states. Then after removing all approach 1 and approach 2, you need to check for the cycles in the resulting finite automata. Cycles in the sense, whenever if there is any need to give and self transitions to the states, right? So after removing the approach 1 and approach 2, we need to check for the cycles. And in the resulting of the finite automata, if the L is finite, if there are no cycles, otherwise it is infinite. That means if it consisting of the cycles means it comes under the infinite. If it does not have any cycles, and it reach the final state means it is finite, right? And this is one approach with 4 points. We're having another approach. What the another approach means, this is for the regular expression. And now only I talk about the DFA. And for the regular expression, what the approach is here, you need to build a regular expression and look for the clean closure, right? And how to implement the step 2 and step 3 for this. See with an example. Here we're having an example for the finiteness test. And is the example of this DFA is finite or infinite? This is the decision problem that we're having. And here we're having a question. And now we're implementing the approaches, right? See, what approach number 1 is, check it out which states are unreachable states. Which states are unreachable states means, from the initial state, is there a direct path to the final states or not? Is there direct path to the final states or not? You need to check out all those states, right? And from Q0, Q1 is there, from Q1, Q2 is there, Q2, Q4 is there. That means if I want Q0, I am reaching Q4. If I want Q1, I am reaching Q4. If I want Q2, I am reaching to Q4. Same as if I want Q3, from Q0 to Q1, Q1 to Q3, and Q3 to Q4, I am reaching the final state, right? So while coming to the Q6, Q0 to Q1, Q1 to Q3, but from Q3 there is no directed path to Q6. So it is an unreachable state. So it is an unreachable state, right? And Step number 2, that means the approach number 2, which states are not getting acceptable. See, actually Q4 is in final state, but here we're having in Q5 also. This state does not get accept. If you are having the state like in Q5 in our machine also, it comes under a dead state because we never get use and Q5. From the Q state to Q5 we're having a transition, but it does not get acceptable. It does not get acceptable. So here we're removing the Q5 also. So then after removing this Q6 and Q5, this the remaining machine becomes an finite. The remaining machine becomes an finite, right? So we were checking out, and also the remaining machine does not contains any cycles. Then so we can say that it is an final state. We can say that it is an final state. And when we can say that it is an infinite, when we can say that it is an infinite means actually this is a different machine. Here we are having two different machines, and for this machine Q5 is an unreachable state as well as an not acceptable state, so it is removed. And coming to here, every state is getting acceptable with the final state, but Q3 is having a cycle. So due to this we can conclude that it is an infinite. I think you all understand how to check the finite machines and how to check the infinite machines, infinite automatas and finite automatas. This type of machines comes under the finite, and this type of machines comes under the infinite. Up to this part it is infinite, but the Q3 is having a cycle, so it comes under an infinite state, right? And I think you all understand the today's concept, and in today's session I explained you three most important concepts. And one concept is about an closure properties of regular languages, and the second is about an decision problems, and the third one is about an emptiness and an finiteness. Emptiness test and an finiteness test. Is it clear to you all? Still any one of you are having any doubts, you can please ask. And coming to the closure properties, and there I just explained you how to represent the difference, and how to represent the homomorphism, and how to take the statement, and how to claim it, and how to prove it. Just these are the things, default things that we need to learn, and we need to write in direct answer whatever I explained you, right? So if you know how to represent an union, if you know how to represent an intersection, or if you know how to represent a difference, and if you know how to represent a complement, and if you know how to represent an reversal, and just by taking with an example you need to show, just making an assumption L and R are the two regular languages, then the intersection of the L and R is L intersection M. When it gets intersection, when it already closed under the complement as well as the union, it gets an intersection, right? So whatever the things I explained under the closure properties of the regular languages, those are the most important properties. So please all of you again learn all those, and within examples you need to write in the examination, no, not directly putting in headings. And if it is for the 8 marks means you need to give an examples, and you sometimes for the some properties you need to show the proofs also. And same thing, the decision problem, whether it is an yes or no, right? There you need to made an, you need to build an question, and then you need to made an approaches for giving whether it is an yes or no. That is, you need to decide. It is a decision problem. If you are having a problem, you need to solve that, and you are having an input for solving that, and after solving that you need to show whether it is yes or no. So there I explain you how to solve the decision problems, and then after that I explain you the emptiness, and how to show the emptiness, and how to show the finiteness. And with the examples I make clearly make you to understand how to show the finite automata and how to show the infinite automata. And these are the concepts, three concepts that I covered in today's session. I think you all understand. If you have any doubts, you can please ask. In the next class, I'm going to explain about another most important concept, that is about an equivalence and the minimization of the finite automata.